Yo, from Webster's International Dictionary Unabridged. Denomination, a class or society of individuals, especially a religious group or community of believers called by the same name. Quoting Encyclopedia Britannica, the term so-called denomination in religion refers to a specific group of people who share a particular set of religious opinions, practices, and organizational form. It is often applied to the various branches into which members of a common faith may be divided. In summary, a named, organized subgroup within a faith tradition distinguished by shared beliefs, practices, and leadership, separated from others by doctrinal or structural differences. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy and Wikipedia's Christian denomination entry also basically say the same thing. Put simply, a group that worships the triune God and attempts to follow the teachings of Christ and his successors, yet are separated due to divergent interpretations. All the aforementioned are standard garden variety conceptions of what a denomination is. For example, the article Christian Denominations, a list of all 46 types of Christianity by Marco Marina, PhD. It is unfair, highly misleading, and often unethical to say there are thousands of different denominations, as the vast majority of their differences are tiny, trivial, and non-divisive, and the large majority of groups have more points of agreement than points of disagreement. While many people admit they are in a denomination, others variously claim that their group is non-denominational, Christian only, the Mother Church, the Original Church, the Lord's Church, or the only one saved, as opposed to everyone else who is in a denomination which is anywhere from somewhat inferior to worthless. For example, in one church group I used to attend, the preacher said that if you go to any other church on Sunday, you might as well go fishing. In a subsequent church group, I told the priest about that church background of mine. He responded with, "That's not even a church." And having closed communion, not allowed for believers in Christ who think differently, implies exclusivism. Alternative definitions or claims to supposedly distinguish Christians only from sects. 1. Denominations are branches of the Christian church established by man. Response: if your group cannot trace their lineage in unbroken succession back to the apostles, that would actually suggest that your group is established by man, not God. 2. We can trace our lineage in unbroken succession back to the apostles. Response: since several different groups can do that, that's not good enough to declare yourselves the exclusive church established by Christ while everyone else is divisive. Others reverse that by also claiming exclusivity while calling yours a division. 3. A denomination is a large group of congregations organized under a hierarchy or an administrative body controlling many congregations. But New Testament churches were autonomous and independent. Response: that's because the church was in her infancy. Church growth eventually made it expedient to have greater organization. This concept already started in the New Testament, with the Apostle Paul keeping tabs on and admonishing numerous congregations, not just one he attended. And New Testament churches already confederated via financial support. Modern autonomy and independence led to groups such as Westboro Baptist Church, the Branch Davidians, George Feigley's Neo-American Church, etc., completely antithetical to the church Christ established. 4. Denominations use creeds or catechisms while we stick with the Bible. Response: if you have statements of faith or Bible commentaries, those are essentially the same thing. And those who allege to just stick with the Bible put their own spin on it. 5. The way out of religious division is duplicating a New Testament congregation and following the New Testament pattern and blueprint. Or speak where the Bible speaks, be silent where the Bible is silent. That equals the Lord's church. Response: no. This produces wild disagreement over what is integral to the so-called blueprint or pattern and what is just happenstance. Ignoring church history breeds false interpretations, and instead of believers giving the Bible its voice, they have been using it as a sock puppet to speak with their own sinful voice the last 550 years. Instead, a main ingredient in Christianity is casting away sinful pride and humbling ourselves. So, believers must A. Stop using the excuse that others don't live up to Christ's teachings in order to avoid going to church, because none of us live up to his teachings. B. Stop saying there are thousands of denominations and instead emphasize the commonalities between us in order to encourage others to obey the gospel instead of turning them away from it. C. Stop saying that your group is the original or only church from God and instead realize that all modern church groups of any significant size deviate considerably from the church that Christ established. D. Start researching the church of the first few centuries to help align with what the original church believed and practiced. See my videos titled The Pillar of Truth 1 and 2.